Hi there, so I'm Jules here. Excuse me. Hi there, I'm Jules here at the Body Retreat. I'm just doing this little short video today to give a bit of an update on how I'm going with my journey to heal Hashimoto's naturally through diet and supplementation. So as you probably know if you've seen my previous videos, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's a couple of months ago, and I made the decision that I wouldn't follow the conventional medical route and take thyroxine and various medications, but rather I wanted to look at healing and supporting my body naturally. And I think it's a very personal decision. It's one that everybody has to make for themselves, but it definitely has felt like the right decision for me. Particularly because over the past few years, I've been diagnosed with a raft of different conditions and been prescribed medication for those conditions. And unfortunately, they have either turned out to that I've not had the condition in the case of gastroesophageal reflux, or the medications that I've been given have exacerbated a different health concern. And so it seemed to me, rather than taking another pill or another combination of pills, rather that I would kind of do factory reset and try and regain a sense of natural health and well-being. When I talk about healing Hashimoto's, I'm not talking about it's suddenly going to be gone and I can resume my old ways, but rather I can minimize or negate entirely the effect that it's has had on my health and well-being. And with continued changes and tweaks to my diet and my lifestyle, that I won't need to take any medication and that I won't be suffering the negative side effects of that condition. So you possibly know that I've decided to follow an autoimmune protocol regime for 6 months, based on a lot of research that I've done, but predominantly the GAPS diet, that's gut and psychology syndrome, and Dr. Amy Myers, the autoimmune protocol system as well. What I think is really important to say as well is that while I've done my own research and I've read a variety of books and a variety of protocols, I'm doing my plan, my program, following my 6 months under the supervision of Kate Delmar Morgan, who is the nutritional therapist who works with us and supports us here at the Body Retreat. Because the problem is when you read text, very often there are so many caveats within that you don't know if what you're doing is the right thing for you. And because health and well-being is so multi-layered, so multifaceted, that I don't think that there is one book or one protocol that you could say, this is what I have and this is the exact fit for that. And so I think working with a professional is the ideal way then to really be able to tweak the plans to be able to better support your health and well-being. So for me, this 6 months I'm working with Kate is really a big investment in getting myself in a good place. And I do have to say as well that when you're committed to something for 6 months, when you put yourself out there, when you're paying for support, I tell you, you follow the plan, because there's no point in not following the plan. This isn't a weight loss plan. This isn't a diet plan. This is a gaining health plan. This is a factory reset plan. What am I now? About 5 weeks in, and things are going pretty well so far. As you probably know, what I've been doing is for the first 4 weeks, I removed entirely gluten, dairy, soy, refined sugar and alcohol. And they're going to stay out of my diet entirely for the full 6 months of the plan that I'm following. I've just started phase 2. Now, phase 2 for me is about dropping the remaining grains. So I have been able to eat corn and rice and oats, gluten-free oats, and I've been enjoying those through this last sort of 4 weeks or so. Now, the reason that I'm dropping those, even though they don't contain any gluten, is that they can still exacerbate gut permeability. And I know that in my particular case, that the leaky gut that I have been diagnosed with and the small intestinal bowel overgrowth that has resulted from that, as well as the Hashimoto's, are all really stemming from I've got bad gut health. And so the grains can increase that permeability therefore increasing the chances that your gut is going to be affected by so many more things. And also, I think as well, for somebody like myself, grains, particularly when you're removing things from your diet, when you start focusing on what you can have, I find myself having rice more often than perhaps I would, doing the same with oats and things like that. And of course, they... couple of things that are wrong with that. One is that gut permeability. Two is that carbohydrates will affect your blood sugar, and I have issues with both blood sugar and also this small intestinal bowel overgrowth. Those starches and those natural sugars and those gluten-free carbohydrates are going to be feeding that bacteria as well. So for the remainder of my 6 months now, that is me grain-free, so no rice, no corn and no oats. At the minute, I'm keeping in what's known as pseudo grains. So I'm keeping in buckwheat and quinoa. They come from grasses and they're seeds, effectively, but they still have a similar starch structure to most grains. And the body reacts in similar way to them as it would do whole grain rice, for example. But I'm keeping them in for this next period because I'm going to drop the pseudo grains when I come to phase 3, which will be for the final 3 months of the plan, where I'll be following the full autoimmune protocol, and that will mean that I'll be taking out nightshades and legumes and pulses, nuts and seeds, and so they will all come out during that phase as well. Haven't quite got my head around being in that phase, because that's why I've decided to do this in a phased approach, because I felt that it would support me both physically to become used to the changes in my daily diet, but also psychologically kind of getting my head around this degree of abstinence. For me to go completely cold turkey in one hit really wasn't an option. I would have felt that degree of deprivation. I would have felt that degree of oppressive eating and restrictive eating. And I know myself, I know what my brain will go like. And I would probably have done a couple of weeks and then thought, no, this is too much, can't do this. And all bets would be off. And I'm not a big fan of restrictive plans anyway. So for me, this has been feeling the benefits of the changes that I'm making. Knowing that it's in a very staged and structured approach is helping me to get my head around it. And it also means that I don't have to be without lots of things in my daily diet for too long as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing now for the next 3 weeks. I am going to be dairy, gluten and grain, soy, refined sugar, and alcohol free. And so I'll let you know how I get on with that. So fingers crossed, wish me luck, and I will see you in stage 3. Until then, of course, if you have any questions about the protocols that I'm following, the tests that I undertook, the supplements that I'm taking, how I'm keeping on the wagon or the occasional falling off the wagon and what that looks like, please do leave me a comment below and I'll come back. Or even if you prefer, ping me an email privately at Juls